And our next presenter to close out our event is Kathy, and she's going to move us through our caregiving and grief stress with some movement. So Kathy, move us.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you everyone for being here today. It's been informative listening to all the presentations and the discussion, and I've tried to pull some of those elements into the movements we're going to do. So I'll just tell you a little bit about me. I'm a former family caregiver for my mom and for a friend, and I was working full-time during both of those experiences. So today, what we're going to be doing is called Grief Movement, and one of the ways I look at grief is that anytime there's a change in your life, there's a loss, and anytime there's a loss, it causes grief. So you could be grieving the loss of a person, you could be grieving that the way your life has changed because you're a caregiver. There's many, many ways grief comes into caregiving, as we all know. So just relax and I'll just say a couple other things. Do what you want to do, and if anything hurts, don't do it. You're free to have your camera on or off. If you're self-conscious about being seen, that's fine. And please just, you can just mute yourself if you want as well. So we'll begin. So I invite you to get comfortable in your seat, to sit tall in your chair, put your feet firmly on the ground, feel the ground underneath your feet, feel your chair underneath your sit bones, and just gently start breathing in and out. In and out. And I invite you to think about where in your body you hold stress or grief. Is it your head? Is it your neck? Your shoulders? Your stomach? And if you want, you can put your hands on that part of your body. Just focus your breathing on that. So breathe in. And as you breathe in, try to breathe energy into that spot. Breathe out. Again, just keep breathing in and out. Sometimes if you're really stressed and trying to breathe, it can help to count as you breathe in. So you can breathe into the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And breathe out to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just do that again. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're ready, you just come back to center, and we'll just do a few exercises to try to release some of that stress in your body and get a little warmed up. So the first one is the shoulder release. Someone spoke earlier about carrying it in their shoulders, and I certainly do. So I invite you to clasp your hands in front of you like this, like so. Nope, sorry, wrong one. Well, we can do that one first. We're going to start with the jaw, actually, and I invite you to clasp your hands in front of you like this. Again, some people hold it in their jaw. We're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, release your breath through your mouth, and you're welcome to make a sound. Here, I'll demonstrate. So breathe in and breathe out. And shake your hands as you do that. So if you join me, you can breathe in, breathe out. And one more time. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. If you want, also, you can just gently massage the joints, your jaw joint there with your fingers. Try not to press too hard, but sometimes just getting some motion and some warmth in there can be really helpful, especially for those of us who grind our teeth and do all those other things we shouldn't be doing. Oh, I said shouldn't. That's not good. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so the next area we'll work on will be shoulders. So I invite you to, again, put your hands together and scrunch your shoulders up to your ear as tight as you can. Breathe in and breathe out and release. Again, breathe in, breathe out. And breathe in, breathe out. You can just move your shoulders around a little bit if you want. I'll invite you to do a little neck work. Some people like to just move their head around in circles. That's not comfortable for me. So one of the things I suggest is just shaking your head yes a few times, down and back. And then shaking your head no a few times. Just loosen that neck up a little. And when you're ready, I also invite you to loosen up your spine a little by taking your right hand, putting it on your left knee, just turning to that side, the left side. Breath in, breath out. And come back to center when you're ready. And take the left hand on the right knee. Turn to the right side and breathe in. Breathe out. And come back to center. Great. So now we're going to move into some exercises that actually address specific emotions. But first, I invite you to take a minute. This exercise is called love taps. And just gently tap on your chest and say what you're feeling. And say, and I'll just demonstrate. I am sad. I am frustrated. I am energized. I am overwhelmed. I am angry. I'll just be quiet for a minute and let you have your thoughts and say yours as well. And when you're finished, feel free to put your hands on your lap and we'll move on. Great. So now that you know what you're feeling, we're going to move into a few exercises to address that. The first one is a great one for anger. And I just want to say, even though we're doing these in a sequence, that basically you can pick and choose any of these and use them at any moment in time that you need them. So maybe at some point you're going to need some anger release, or you're just going to need to sit and be grounded. And that's what these are for. So anger, I invite you to bring your hands up into light fists in front of you. We're going to breathe in. This is called punching it out. We'll breathe in, and as you breathe out, we're just going to punch straight ahead of you as long as the breath lasts. So breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in again and breathe out. And you can make sound if you want. And you might want to be using this at a situation, or there might be someone you're directing it at, whatever you want to do. We'll do one more. Breathe in and breathe out. And then shake your hands. You're done, and bring them down to your lap. The next one is the why exercise. And a lot of times as caregivers, we're thrown into situations and we don't get to ask why. You know, why am I in this situation? Why is this happening to my caree? And you can just raise your hands and ask why. Why? Why? You might be asking the universe. You might be asking a higher power. You can pretend you're asking a doctor. You can say what you're asking why about. Like, why did my brother get sick? Why did nobody notice? Why is the doctor not calling me back? Why did I have to leave work to come here? Why do I have so much stress? Why did this happen? Why? Why is nobody helping me? Why do I have to ask? And when you're doing the why exercise, we'll stop right now for this one, but feel free, if you're into it, to just keep going on until you feel that you've exhausted your whys. Sometimes it really does help to just ask. The next one we're going to do is called Weeding the Garden. And I invite you to visualize in front of you a beautiful garden of beautiful flowers. Everything's coming up where I live right now, and hopefully where you are too. And everything is just gorgeous in your garden. It's green, it's lush, lots of flowers. But there are some weeds in that garden. And there are some weeds that you just need to pull out. And I invite you to take your hand, grab one of those weeds, and pick it up. Throw it over your shoulder. Now, as you do this, you can name the weed. So the weeds could be any coulda, shoulda, wouldas that are nagging you. It could be anything you think you should have done that you didn't do, anything that you did do that didn't turn out right. It can be, again, the frustrations, like someone not doing what you want them to do, or someone not returning your call, or any of those. Just pull it out and fling it right over your shoulder. Again, as you're doing this, if you're doing this in a moment of stress, if you even have a closet you can go into and just sit there and weed your garden, feel free to just keep pulling those weeds out until you feel you've exhausted it. And once you feel you pulled those weeds out, you can also do an additional sweep of that garden. Just take your hand to the opposite shoulder and just sweep across and get rid of everything in there that you don't want in there. Any stress you don't want in there, any negative thoughts that you're thinking that you don't want in there, anything, just sweep it right out. We like the sweeping. And as we've heard this morning, we've talked about forgiveness this morning, so I was really glad that I included this. We have a little exercise. It's for trying to move through forgiving someone else, forgiving yourself, because sometimes it's a combination of both those things. So we're going to breathe in and raise our hands and say to ourselves, or think to ourselves, I love you, I forgive you. And as you bring your hands down, I forgive me, thank you. I love you, I forgive you, I forgive me, thank you. Okay, I love you can be addressed to yourself or to someone else. I love you, I forgive you, I forgive me, thank you. Let's do one more. I love you, I forgive you, I forgive me, thank you. Just sit for a second. This next group of exercises is going to move you into empowerment, appreciation for yourself, peacefulness, we hope. So for the first, I'd like to just remind you how in control you are. And one of the ways that you can remind yourself of this is by doing this exercise called maestro breath. So we're going to pretend to be an orchestra maestro and put our hands up like we're holding little batons. And we'll, we'll breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. There are lots of breath exercises you can do that it will just help you to get more oxygen into your system and just remind you that, you do have power. I'm also going to invite you to just do a little roar. So we're going to breathe in. When you breathe out, just let out a roar. Let's breathe into the count of 3 and breathe out in a roar. So, ah. Ah, if you want, you can add arm movements to that. Ah, just feel your power. Let's do that one more time. Ah, okay, shake that out. So I'm going to take you on a little trip now. And we're going to just pretend we're a bird, whatever kind of bird you want to be. And we're just going to do a little fly over the land that you inhabit, whatever land that is. Fly over whatever would make you feel peaceful and happy. And from the 10,000 foot view, look down on your everyday situation, issues, and realize that you can put it in perspective maybe this way, by flying over it, looking down on it, sort of isolating it, taking yourself, as Denise talked about a daydream, just taking yourself on a little daydream voyage or a little fantasy voyage. Maybe you're flying over Hawaii or some blue water. Maybe you're flying over a beautiful forest. Maybe you're flying to see someone that you miss. Maybe you're just flying around. I live in a beautiful valley with lots of places to fly around, which is great. And as you're flying, suddenly you see a waterfall off in the distance. Let's just fly over to that waterfall and land. And as you're sitting in front of the waterfall, I invite you to take your hands, dip your hands into that waterfall, into that cool, cleansing water, and bring it up. And just very gently wash yourself with that cool, cleansing water. Just let it drip down over you, cleansing you. Can be holy water if you like, just something that gives you a new perspective. Let's just do that one more time with that water. Isn't that cool and refreshing? It's wonderful water. And remember that everything you're going through right now, everything is all part of the circle of life. Bring your right hand over to your left knee and draw a big circle around to remind you of that. And then left hand to the right knee and again back. Just really move your body around. Look around the room. And remember that it's all circle of life. Let's do one more set of circles. And when you're ready, we'll move on into thinking about the things in our lives that have made us feel powerful and good and happy. So I invite you to bring your hands out in front of you again. Cup them in front of you and close your eyes. And think of a time in your life that you felt very loved or peaceful or very positive. Maybe you were with your birth family. Maybe you were with your current family. Maybe you were with friends. You were in some place where you were with people who you knew loved you and would take care of you. And it was just a wonderful, beautiful experience. They were looking at you with love. You were looking at them with love. And remember what it felt like. What did it look like? Where were you? What did you hear? How did it feel? How did it sound? Really focus in on all the sensory inputs of that memory. And when you have that memory, bring your hands to your heart and say yes. And breathe that memory into your body. Then when you're ready, bring your hands back out in front of you again. This time I want you to think about a memory in which you were very successful. Maybe it was a day with your caree when everything went right. Maybe it was a day at work when everything went right. It was a day somewhere where you had challenges, but you overcame them and you did your best and everything felt great. Think of what you were wearing. Who were you with? What was the day like? Were there any sounds? Were there any smells? What was so special about that day? And how did you feel on that day? And when you have that memory, say yes again, and bring your hands to your heart and breathe that memory in. Then when you're ready, I invite you to bring your hands out again. We're going to gather one more memory. And this is a memory of a time when you were courageous. Maybe there was something you were afraid to do and you did it, and you were so proud of yourself that you did it. Maybe it was something heroic, or maybe it was something mundane. It was any kind of situation where you really had to call on your courage and you did it. And you were so proud of yourself for doing that. And so visualize that memory. What was that day? What was that day like? Where were you? Who were you with? What was the situation? Where were you the most scared? Where were you feeling the most courageous? How did it feel to be courageous? How does it feel to be courageous? When you have that memory, say yes, bring your hands to your chest, to your heart again, and breathe that memory in. Breathe it in all the way down to your toes and all the way up to the top of your head. Just luxuriate in that memory. When you're ready, bring your hands to your lap and just remember that anytime you need to, you can call on those memories. And remember, when you were having days that gave you strength, made you happy, made you feel loved, gave you confidence, whatever, and just breathe those memories in and get back to that place. So I invite you now to bring your hands up and just join me in an affirmation. I usually say, may I be peaceful, may I be happy, may I be content. You're welcome to change it or add whatever you'd like. Breathe in, breathe out, and just give yourself a hug. Another reminder is that you can always give yourself a hug. Apparently it releases the same chemicals as someone else giving you a hug. So even if no one else is around and no one can, you can always do this for yourself. And thank you for joining me in being so adventurous.
Thank you so much for that, Kathy. And there's a recording of this, so you can watch the recording anytime you need to feel loved, supported, validated, acknowledged. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording and thank everyone who's watching the archive for joining us. For those who are live, please stay for just one more second, actually 1 more minute. We'll just do a little housekeeping and then we'll close for today. So those who are joining via the archive, thank you so much for watching. We hope you found this helpful.